Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Football Betting Podcast. This is your home for tips, insight, and discussion on the English football's top four leagues. I'm your host, Tom Pipkin. I'm joined as ever by my co host, Tom Walker.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Thank you to new listeners and OG listeners and viewers for taking the time to tune in today. Tom, the EFL has gone and I'm feeling kind of lonely, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is a lonely pod, isn't it? It's going to be a much shorter pod than normal because we've just got the Premier League left.
Mm,
And we know there is the playoffs currently ongoing, but as Tom mentioned last week, and as we'll kind of go through again this week, we're going to deal with the playoffs mainly on social media, aren't we, Tom?
yeah. Yeah, we're going to cover each playoff campaign. We did okay in the first couple of legs in League One, but obviously League Two and the Championship are coming up this weekend. We'll also on the show be focusing on the FA Cup final, so we'll have a little bit of insight there. But yeah, 72 is it or something like that? 246, yeah, like 72 of the 92 have disappeared on us a little bit. So yeah, it's just the Premier League left now, but it's exciting. It's exciting. A few things going on at the top and bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And as ever, this podcast is sponsored by our good friends at matchbook.com. You can still take advantage of the matchbook.com sign up offer. Use the code TFB podcast during the registration, and that'll get you £30 money back as a free bet. So you go in, sign up, use the code TFB podcast, deposit up to £30 with your first bet, whatever you decide to spend on that first bet, be it 5, 10, the full 30. If it wins, fantastic. If it loses, you'll get that money back in your account as an equivalent free bet. So please do take advantage of that over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're coming off, Tom. We're coming off a winner as well. We need to,
Yeah,
we need to mention that we nearly won a treble and didn't even mention it at the top of the show. But yeah, we thankfully managed to bag a winner to signify the end of the regular EFL season. It was a lovely one as well.
yeah. We'll cover that in more detail a little bit later on in the show when we give you this week's treble. But yeah, excited to actually go through that one. That's we've had a bit of tough luck over the last few weeks, haven't we, with the trebles?
Mm.
We've kind of hit the post, hit the crossbar, had VAR rule one out, and yeah, finally good to get all three over the line and fairly comfortably, you'd say as well.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything. Oh, fantasy football, we'll take a little look at fantasy football as well towards the end of the show because, we're nearing the end of that as well, obviously. Right, let's dive straight in with the Prem then. 12 o'clock on Sunday. So all of these Premier League games that we're going to talk about kick off on Sunday, bar one Monday fixture that we've got to look through. So first up on Sunday, 12 o'clock, Tottenham against Burnley. 1.37 for Spurs to get the win at home. 5.6 for the draw and 9.6 for Burnley to get the victory here. We've just seen, we're recording on Thursday night, Spurs have beaten Arsenal fairly comfortably in the North London derby, actually very comfortably in the North London derby, 3-0, to kind of put their top four push back on. They're 1 point behind Arsenal in the table, both teams with 2 games to go. If Spurs win this game, they play before Arsenal, who play on the Monday, I believe. Yep, they do. So yeah, Spurs can go back above Arsenal and put that pressure on. I fully expect them to do so at 1.37, especially at home, riding that momentum now. Burnley, 17th place, level on points with Leeds, just outside the drop zone on goal difference. I don't think Burnley will get a win. I was really disappointed with them last week, actually. We said on the pod, we think they may actually win or at least get a draw against Aston Villa. They actually went down 3-1. They were 3-0 down, I remember, at one stage as well. So that was a really disappointing result for Burnley. And this is a tough game for them to bounce back in away at Spurs.
It is. They're away at Tottenham this weekend, as we just mentioned. Away at Villa again. So even though they, just lost pretty badly against them, that is still a winnable game. And then they finish at home to Newcastle and they'll fancy themselves. So this one is a little bit of a free hit for Burnley, if you can have a free hit at this stage of the season, not sure. But yeah, Tottenham absolutely purring, aren't they? In terms of the points, Tom, you've just read that out. In terms of goal difference as well, massive advantage, which is essentially another point. Arsenal plus 11, Tottenham plus 23. So we're taking absolute minor miracle for that to all turn around in Arsenal's favour. I do fancy Tottenham to get carry the good times, basically. I think Son and Kane, the two best players, maybe minus De Bruyne in the league at the moment. And I fancy them to go at this. It's still a weak Burnley team. They've improved for sure, but they're still down there, and they're still playing a lot of players who, are on the brink of maybe not even being Premier League quality. They're one of those kind of catchment area between Premier League and Championship players. So I'm going for Tottenham and over 2.5. It's 1.93, so it will just get you a squeak under evens. I think they're a little bit short on the nose. Still think they'll win. Maybe if you chucked it in an ACCA, it might come in. But yeah, Tottenham and over 2.5. I'm thinking maybe another 3-0 actually.
Yep. Okay, like it. Villa Palace then up next. So this is one of 5 2:00 kickoffs on Sunday. Villa 2.08, the draw 3.6, and Palace 3.7. So Villa fairly heavy favourites for this one. Definition of a mid-table clash, really. This Palace in 11th, Villa in 12th, just 1 point separating the two sides. For me, neither side really anything to play for aside from final league positions. I didn't really know which way to go with this one.
Yeah, neither did I, to be honest with you. I mean, the one thing that I had a look at was both teams to score, maybe. It's 1.8. Lots of attacking talent on display. Ollie Watkins, Jacob Ramsey, Philip Coutinho, Eberechi Eze, Wilfred Zaha, Ayew, Olise. Lots of attacking players. Palace have been a lot better defensively than I think people give them credit for. They, obviously we know about Gueye and Mitchell mainly because they've got their England call-ups, but they have a better defensive record than Brighton, Arsenal, West Ham, and then obviously Manchester United, Leicester, Southampton, Newcastle. Basically, it's about the 7th best defence in the league. So that puts me off a little bit, but I'm thinking mid-table fun in the sun. Maybe Vieira will let those young lads run riot a bit. 1.8, but nothing too strong.
Yeah. Leeds Brighton up next then. 2.7 for Leeds, 3.45 for the draw, and 2.6 for Brighton. Now we've looked at the league table. We've spoken about how Leeds are in the relegation zone now on goal difference. They've got a terrible goal difference in comparison to Burnley and Everton. They host Brighton. Brighton on the back of some really good results, beating Manchester United 4-0 last time out. But prior to that, beating Wolves 3-0, drew 2-2 with Southampton, and then lost 3-0 to Manchester City. That's their last 4. They've won 4 of the last 6 games, so they're in really good form to end the season. Starting to find the back of the net with real frequency, a kind of frequency we've not seen from them really throughout this season. And this is going to be a tough game for Leeds because I appreciate they've played Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City in the last 3 games. They've lost all of them, but I struggle. Brighton are really in form, as we've seen against Manchester United. They're scoring plenty of goals. I can't see Leeds keeping a clean sheet. I could see Leeds conceding, one or two. So it's just a case of whether they can score more than Brighton. I don't know if they can do that, to be honest.
Yeah, I had 2 things here that stick out to me. Let's start with the home side, Leeds. These are their last 5 games and how many goals they've conceded. 3, 2, 4, 0, 3. So not looking very good at the back at the moment. And then in terms of goals that they've scored just 1 in those 5. So very concerning going forward as well as at the back. Obviously missing Patrick Bamford massively, but it's just not clicking. Dan James with a red card in midweek, he'll be missing. And then you look at Brighton. Tom, you're right to point out that Man United result because it's excellent. But I'm looking at their last 4 away games where they've won 3. Away at Wolves, won 3-0. And they lost away at Man City. I don't think we're going to hold them to account there. Beat Tottenham away 1-0 and beat Arsenal away 2-1. So yeah, everything points towards a Brighton win. I think you'll get a decent price. I think Brighton are being slept on a little bit by the bookies at the moment. Maybe it's because they're mid-table and they've been up and down, but I've said it many times. They've been really good in periods and really bad. Really good start, very bad middle, finishing really well. I think 2.6. We'll look back at that, and that'll be the price of the weekend.
Yeah, if you want a bit more safety, the double chance, 1.48 is the price for Brighton to win or draw. And one final thing on this game that I noticed, Leeds have a bad record against Brighton as well. So if you like to look into head-to-head games between two sides, Brighton have won 8 of the last 10 meetings between the two clubs, and that does, of course, go back into the Championship days. So we are going back 7-8 years with this stat, but yeah, typically Leeds come up short against Brighton historically. Right, moving on then. Watford against Leicester, 3.75 for Watford, 3.8 for the draw, and 2.1 for Leicester. Snakes of Watford.
I wondered what that was.
Yeah, obviously Watford have announced Rob Edwards as their new manager. I'm assuming he's taking charge at the end of the season, right, Tom?
Yeah. Pre-season,
Yeah. So no real impact on the rest of this season in terms of that. But yeah, obviously Dale Vince, the Forest Green manager, very outspoken in the media about the way Watford approached Rob Edwards and got that deal done. Well, they drew with Everton in midweek. That's the only positive I can say about Watford, really, unless you've got anything else to add.
Absolutely rubbish. I don't want to fancy Leicester here. Even with 2 games to go.
Pause. Wait. You've got to fancy Leicester because they're on the treble.
No, I know, but hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, so Leicester haven't been convincing recently, I don't think. But we are looking at a team in Watford with 2 games to go with the worst home record in the 92. It has been unbelievably bad. We've mentioned time and time again how bad they've been at home. Leicester, again, maybe they haven't been firing on all cylinders, but they're going to have enough about them to win this game, I think. Watford, Roy Hodgson, everything's just waiting for it to end, basically. It just feels flat and it feels inconvenient for them to be playing these games. And Leicester, they're obviously feeling the heartbreak of not making the Europa Conference League final. And they, of course, have a huge issue from set pieces that Watford will look to exploit. But I got to fancy Leicester here, Tom. 2.1. Even though they've not been in the best of form, surely they go there and get the win.
Yeah, you'd think so. I completely agree. I think they will. Vardy back in amongst the goals as well. So that'll be a big boost to Leicester. Fine. Oh no, not finally at 2:00. We've got 2 more games. Next up, West Ham against Man City. So West Ham are priced at 8.8 for the win. The draw is 5.5 and Man City are 1.38. Again, we're seeing City really start to turn it on. Obviously, the Champions League heartbreak aside, in the league, firing on all cylinders. We saw them dispatch Wolves 5-1 in midweek in a De Bruyne masterclass. That's a game I think a lot of people probably thought, including myself, could be a particularly tricky one for them, but they swatted Wolves aside fairly comfortably there. In the last 5 games, they've scored 3, 5, 4, 5, 5. So, yeah, West Ham aren't typically a team you associate at the moment with keeping clean sheets either. So, I think Man City should get a win here. West Ham, I think, may pose a threat going forward. City, weak at the back at the moment. Lots of defensive players missing. Fernandinho had to fill in at centre-back in midweek. But City will outscore them. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, the clean sheet stat is where I landed in all competitions. And obviously, I feel comfortable bringing that up because they've not been meaningless, first round games or anything like that, or against, minnows or whatever. 1 clean sheet in 10, and that was against Norwich last time out. They've been really struggling. They stopped the rot with that Norwich win, but it was 4 losses in a row before that. Unfortunately, it feels like they're running out of steam. I hope that the wider media and West Ham fans still look at it as a great success because they're in the hunt for a European spot and they've got a 5-point cushion on Wolves with 2 games to go. So, you'd expect them to sew that up and continue the adventure for next season. In terms of this game, no, Man City just, Champions League gone, no FA Cup final. It's full steam ahead and you can't see them tripping up.
No, a couple of prices that I haven't mentioned yet that I do like. Man City in over 2.5 goals, 1.94, and then also potentially Man City and both teams to score. That's 3.0, so 2-1 on the nose. We have seen, obviously, Man City concede one against Wolves in midweek, and then a few weeks ago they conceded one when they beat Watford 5-1 as well. So even though they're scoring plenty, they do have, as I say, a few defensive players out, so West Ham could take advantage of that and get themselves on the score sheet. Finally, then at 2 o'clock on Sunday, Wolves. We're talking about Wolves. Wolves are playing Norwich at home. Wolves are 1.46. The draw is 5.0, and Norwich are 8.0. Kind of like Watford, really. Norwich going down with a whimper. Although Wolves not exactly in great form themselves, I expect Wolves to win, but considering their particularly poor form and the price is very short, I'd be uncomfortable betting on it.
Crazy price. Crazy price, 1.46. Norwich, obviously a championship team, essentially now. And as you said, Wolves not covering themselves in glory, but you can't back them at that price. You just can't. I mean, why you would back Wolves at home over Norwich at 1.46 against backing Leicester away at Watford, worst home record in English football, 2.1. I'd love to hear the argument. I know Leicester and Wolves aren't exactly firing on all cylinders, but neither are their opponents. So yeah, old gold to get the win, but not interested.
Okay. Up next, then, this is the 4:30 on Sunday. The last game we're going to cover on Sunday. Everton against Brentford. Everton at 2.16 for the win, 3.55 for the draw, and 3.6 for Brentford to win. So just to set the scene, Everton are now in 16th in the league. They're 2 points outside of the relegation zone, and they've got a game in hand on Leeds as well. So if they can get a win at home to Brentford, that'll take a big, big step towards their survival. Do you think they can do it?
Yeah. They're unbeaten at home in 4, Everton. And do you know what? Honestly, don't think Frank Lampard think Frank Lampard was the answer. Not sure he's the guy to take him forward long term, but you have to say him and his coaching staff and the players have turned it round after looking doomed. And I want to give credit to the fans as well. Everton have been through a hell of a lot. Lots of, it's been absolutely mad. It's been like a teenager on Football Manager, the way that they've recruited and sold players, and it's been absolutely bonkers. And they've been through hell, really. But they've stuck with them. A lot of fan bases would have stopped turning up, throwing season tickets at the manager, those kind of scenes. But they haven't. They've really, galvanized around the club, and I think it's really helping. Brentford come in here with better form, probably, and playing better ever so slightly. But yeah, this is all a narrative and how decent Everton have been over the last month or so under Frank. I'm actually backing them to get the win. I don't think it's going to be a high scorer. I don't know what you had down. 2.16 for the win. I don't think it'll be high scoring though.
No, yeah. I was going to say, I like Everton. That needs must. I think they'll get the win here. I was going to go the same angle, not high scoring. I was going to throw out Everton and under 2.5, which is priced at 5.0.
Yes.
So 4-1 for that price. So it's a pretty big one. The 3 wins you spoke about coming at home against Chelsea, Man U and Newcastle, they're all 1-0 victories, gritty 1-0s. They had a 1-1 draw against Leicester sandwiched in there as well. And the 2 losses prior to those games, 1-0 losses against Wolves and Man City. So 6 consecutive home games for Everton, under 2.5 goals. 3 of the last 4 of those being wins. yeah, I think the way that they're playing, everything on the line, I think it's going to be cagey. It's going to be gritty. They're going to dig in. They're going to, yeah, Pickford will probably be on form as he has been again. Yeah, I like the price for that.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's a juicy one.
Finally, then, Monday, Newcastle at home to Arsenal. 4.4 for Newcastle, 3.65 for the draw, and 1.91 for Arsenal. And do you back Arsenal to continue their top four charge here? Do you think Newcastle could cause a bit of an upset?
This is a sticky one. I think, as Liverpool found out, right, they only won 1-0. They did change quite a few pieces of the starting 11, and with that, I think they had Villarreal, didn't they? Like the following week or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Arsenal don't have that, so they'll be going full strength here. But I think it will be really, really tough for Arsenal. However, I don't think I'm ready to turn my back on Arsenal after just one result. Like I know they got absolutely swatted aside, but as I said, two of the three most informed players in the league maybe are playing for Tottenham at the moment. So I don't think it's that much of a disgrace. Um, what I'm looking at, Tom, is very similar to what we just mentioned, actually. It's Arsenal and under 2.5. So a 1-0, a 2-0 maybe to Arsenal. It's 4.9. I do like the Everton. Obviously, the price is an absolute whiff higher, but I like that overall better as a bet. But I think Arsenal and under 2.5 is something to be looked at. 4.9.
How much do you believe in head-to-head stats between two clubs?
It depends. It depends. This season or last season, somewhat. It depends. I don't know. The managers have changed.
Well,
I don't really look into it too much. You?
Arsenal have won 7 consecutive games against Newcastle to nil.
Hmm. Okay. Well,
So there's a
tell you
juicy
what.
little trend for you.
Yeah, that will support.
3.65. 3.65. So it supports your argument, really, unless
Mm,
Arsenal absolutely hammer Newcastle, which I don't see happening. But yeah, I could see a 2-0 or something like that. 1-0, 2-0. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Juicy price if you like that trend to continue anyway. Anyway, that wraps up all the tips that we have got for you for this week. Are we going to cover the FA Cup, Tom? Do you want to cover the
Yeah,
FA
I was
Cup?
just about to say we're going to cover the FA Cup. So yeah, it's the FA Cup final this weekend. So this is a really, really great opportunity. Just to remind you one more time, if you fancy having a bet on the weekend on the FA Cup final, why not open a matchbook account? Give yourself that £30 safety net. So £30 back as a free bet if your first bet loses. It's almost a free hit on the FA Cup if you don't have an account with Matchbook already. TFB podcast is the code you need to use, as we said at the top of the show. So, Tom, it's Liverpool Chelsea, or Chelsea Liverpool, as I'm reading it officially. Apologies. How do you see this one playing? Are we going to see an EFL Cup final rematch where Liverpool are going to win 10-11 on penalties? Like, what do you see happening here, mate?
Well, let's run through the odds. Chelsea 3.75, Liverpool 2.16, the draw's 3.65. I'd be going for Liverpool, I think, personally here, just based on, firstly, momentum. No losses in 15 consecutive games. Obviously, that draw against Spurs, a week or so ago, has tripped them up a little bit in terms of the Premier League title race, but they're still in with a shout of the quadruple. Um, so I think Liverpool have got everything going for them that they need to win this trophy on Saturday. And I'm just not convinced by Chelsea, to be honest, mate. Over the last kind of month or so, we've seen them ship 4 to Arsenal. I know I'm going back about a month with that, but ship 4 to Arsenal, draw on all United who are out of sorts, lose to Everton, throw away a 2-0 lead late on against Wolves, who are again out of form themselves, and then more recently beat Leeds 3-0, but Leeds had 10 men from the first half. So yeah, I'm just far from convinced with Chelsea. Really am. I feel like they've got a lot of things up in the air, as we know. Rudiger's been announced that he's going at the end of the season. Potentially lots more players leaving at the end of the season. I don't know. I just think they're a bit up and down, a bit of a yo-yo at the moment. Don't know what to expect from them. Whereas Liverpool, I know what I'm going to get week in, week out, and I'm going to back Klopp and his boys.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to read out those same results, the United and the Everton and the Arsenal stuff, right? If you're drawing against United, right, the step up from Man United to Liverpool is absolutely frightening. Same again with obviously Everton, scrapping for their lives, managed to get a win over Chelsea. The Wolves thing, it's not for me. The one thing I will say, if you're a Chelsea fan or you're thinking about Chelsea, Tuchel. I have faith in Thomas Tuchel. He's up against Klopp, obviously one of the best managers in the world, but Tuchel's got, a pedigree when it comes to winning trophies. He knows how to get it done. He can handle a final. He's got an experienced dressing room. If I was a Chelsea fan, that's what I'd be clinging on to this weekend is Tuchel pulling out a one-off game masterclass, because in the league, obviously, there's a 16-point gap in the league based over a 36-game season. Well, this is a one-off game, and we've seen upsets before, and we've seen upsets at the helm with a manager who's way less skilled than Thomas Tuchel at these kind of one-off games. So that's what I'd cling on to. That's what I think will make it an event. The price isn't up at the moment for this, but I will go for Liverpool and under 2.5, which seems a bit of a theme for the day, to be honest with you. But yeah, I am looking at that. It's probably going to be maybe around 4.95, maybe something like that. I'm speculating, but yeah, it's not currently available on Matchbook. But make sure you check it out closer to kickoff.
Yeah, I like the look of that, mate. Yeah, I do. Considering that under 2.5 in general is around about a touch below even. So yeah, I reckon we could get 4 point something.
Yeah, hovering around that 4-5 mark. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's recap last week's successful treble and give you this week's hopefully successful treble.
Yeah, great way to end the regular EFL season with a nice 4.1 winner. We had Crystal Palace in the Premier League to win. They did so 1-0. We got a little bit lucky with the Luton win. We had Luton to win 1-0. And in case you haven't seen it, Harry Cornick of Luton does the classic hide behind the goalkeeper when the goalkeeper's holding the ball and the ball's in play, hoping that he's going to roll it out on the ground and kick the ball off the ground rather than out of his hands. As soon as Everson, I think his name is Everson? I think it's Everson for Preston, right? Yeah. Rolls the ball out, expecting to kick it. Harry Cornick nips around the corner, taps it into an empty net. Keeper has absolutely no idea what was going on. Actually, it was Everson for Reading, not Preston, sorry. So we got a little bit.
No idea what was going off.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Live feed.
It was and that sealed their playoff spot. So we got a bit lucky with that, but they don't ask how, they ask how many, and that was a win for us. And then Tom, I have to give you a lot of credit here. Bristol Rovers, shortest price ever in the EFL, especially League Two, against Scunthorpe United. But you got us that extra piece of value to have Bristol Rovers winning at half-time and then almost full time, the second half, being a second mini game where the game starts at 0-0 again. So to win both halves, essentially, and they won 7-0. It was 2-0 after the first half. It was 5-0 at the second half, equaling 7-0 to seal a dramatic automatic promotion push. So, yeah, incredible scenes. Amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and lovely to win a treble without a goal conceded again as well.
Good for you. I didn't pick up on that. I love that. Not today.
Right, so let's look through this week's one. So we're going to start with Spurs against Burnley in that lunchtime kickoff in the Premier League on Sunday. Then in the 2 o'clock, we've got Leicester away at Watford and also Man City away at West Ham. So all three teams on the nose to win. It's currently priced with Matchbook at 3.9. And that is the Matchbook industry best price promise. If it is beaten anywhere, let us know and they'll boost it above whatever beats it. So if you find it somewhere and it might be 4 or 4.1, just get in touch with us on social media. We'll speak to Matchbook and they'll raise it again to beat their competitors. So that is their price promise for our treble. And so last week, obviously, Tom mentioned it was at 4.1. I think the nearest competitor was offering 3.7 or 3.8. So, if you bet with Matchbook, you got a little bit extra for your money there. So it's well worth checking out.
No need to settle for second best. Absolutely no need for it.
That's
need.
Right.
Anyway,
That's right.
Speaking of second best, when you consider there's 286 people in our fantasy league, 285 of them are going to finish second best and not win our £20 free bet prize. It's crunch time, Tom. I know we spoke off air about how well you did, so I'm going to give you a little bit of limelight here for some self-indulgence.
Well, it's just the De Bruyne captain that I had. So 60 points from De Bruyne. And do you want to know, completely honestly, I forgot to do my team. I just thought I can't be asked to do my team anymore.
Well,
Because
do you
I'm
know what?
generally doing badly. So I didn't do my team. I've got a few injured players in there. But yeah, just so happened, luckily, that De Bruyne had been on captain like a couple of weeks ago. And he stayed that way.
I'll be honest with you. There's a message there where I think the less you play, the better you do.
I think so.
Yeah.
Bit like Claudio, otherwise, wasn't it? Like just the Tinker Man.
Yeah. So good for you. How many points did you get?
103.
Oh, you bugger! You're kidding me. Right, I had this plan where you were going to go, oh yeah, I had De Bruyne as captain and he scored all these points. Look at me. And then you were going to go, I got 90 points and I was going to go, ha, I got 102. But you squeaked me out by 1 point, you little bugger. Fuming. Absolutely fuming.
That's
Top
probably
10.
The first time you've got like over 100 all season as well,
Yeah,
isn't
absolutely
it?
smashed
It's
it.
It's got to be. But well done, mate. That was a good week. Ending strong.
Fuming.
Take momentum into next season.
Fuming. Top 10. Chris Hindle, Tom Arnold, Vincent Rayner, Chantel Cruikshanks, Callum Hogdart, Oliver Hogben, Alpha _M9KKK, David Brown, Nathan Brunskill, Caspers Grava. So pretty exciting title race.
Just sorry to butt in, mate. There's some scary scores in this top 10. Like Callum Hogdart got 186 points. 186.
Yeah, he played his bench boost. Good grief. Yeah, he absolutely smashed it. Ben Foster's my goalie. He got 14, so I know that. Tyra Mings 3, Coutinho 3, Watkins 7. So basically Villa Villa and Ben Foster were on his bench. But yeah, absolutely mad. And then in second, Nathan Brunskill 168. Alpha _M9 triple K 147. Neil McCloy down in 13th, 176. Make me and you look like absolute mugs.
Christ.
It's a good title race, though. 15 points separate Nathan Brunskill and Caspers Grava. So, very exciting times.
All to play for. So, yeah, just 2 weeks left of fantasy football. £20 free bet on offer still for the winner, of course. Currently going to Caspers Grava. So, well done to you, Caspers, if you can hold on to it for the next couple of weeks. If you have enjoyed the show, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And, of course, Tom's social media.
Yeah, T_FB podcast. If you're not following us, please do so. You're missing out on playoff tips. You're missing out on midweek Premier League tips, which we went 3 out of 4 on in midweek. Like, there's some good stuff on there and some good tips that me and Tom are putting out, courtesy of Matchbook. So, yeah, give us a follow, T_FB podcast. Tell you what, anyone who follows us over the weekend, I'll follow you back. There you go.
Oh, what an incentive.
Massive.
Love it. Right. Okay. Well, thanks for listening as ever, guys. We'll be back with our final podcast of the season next week. But yeah, good luck for your bets this weekend. Thank you.